quite an endorsement of faith, really, from constituents in you two.
Yes, certainly. As I think we both agree, it's very humbling, but it's only the start. I mean, you've got to repay that faith, and you've got to be willing to roll your sleeves up and work hard for the community and for the constituency. I think one thing that all candidates will have seen as they walked around the area is what a genuinely hard time some of the people are having, and it's very stark. It's certainly, I was brought up in the area, and there are some people really having a tough time of it. It was quite an eye-opener on some doorsteps, I have to say.
And again, just speaking off air, Mrs. Christian, you were talking about the levels of unemployment, the levels of people who have fallen on hard times, especially in the last year. Is that your number one priority from a constituency point of view, to try and address some of those issues?
Yes, I found myself, obviously, we spoke about it off air, saying that there were more people answering the door because they were working from home, and possibly, obviously, because of more people being unemployed, which is obviously a very, very serious issue, or that they were on Mira. So it's definitely one of my major focuses. It doesn't just affect Douglas South, it affects the whole of the island, and really getting people back out to work and getting the economy stimulated to provide more Manx jobs is definitely one, and I'm quite sure of all the ministers, it's one of their great focuses. We were also saying off air that we're very lucky to be in the situation that we are. Our post-COVID economy, post-Brexit economy, we really need to make sure we make the right steps forward, protecting our island, and that obviously focuses around borders, etc. And we really need to make sure that we're focusing and protecting people. With regards to creating jobs, we need to obviously bring in industries to the island, new industries. There's lots of potential. I've spoken about that before, potential new industries. And then also looking at our current different types of sectors that we have, and reskilling and making sure that they've got the provided training available on the island for new jobs and new sectors, and I've already spoken to lots of people about that, and so it's a big focus, definitely, and I know Paul is definitely focused on that as well, and certainly with links to the island, making sure that they're sufficient, and we're preparing ourselves for a bigger situation where airlines are possibly non-existent in a future world. So but Paul, if you've got something.
Well, yeah, it's vital that we keep our economy turning. I mean, the fact that we can just sit here speaking to you at the moment, Dolan, without having to social distance, and we're in a unique place at the moment, and therefore it's vital, as I say, that we look to preserve the jobs we have and try and create jobs for those who unfortunately have been made unemployed as a consequence of the pandemic.
Will you two be able to make an impact on the labour market from outside the Council of Ministers or from outside government?
Well, I'd like to feel that we can certainly have an input, maybe indirectly, obviously. I'm already looking to meet with Lawrence Skelly in the Department for Enterprise later this week. I've got a few ideas that I'd like to run past him, and to see if he's willing to sort of look to move forward with them. Feel that we need to start now to start attracting inward investment into the island, and personally speaking, I feel that our future lies with the emerging economies in the world, and particularly those within the Commonwealth, countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Canada, the emerging economies in Africa, where we can offer them a good place to do business.
You've got quite different skill sets to each other, and speaking directly to ministers is one way of getting some of your input in. How about when it comes to departmental memberships? Is that something you'd consider?
Well, I can't speak obviously for Claire. I'm on record as saying that certainly for the term of this Parliament, that I wouldn't seek to join any departments. I feel that there's enough work in the constituency to take up my time, and that's something that I'll be looking to address. As going back to what I've said previously, there are a lot of issues there, through no fault of anyone, of course, due to a lack of representation. A lot of these issues have been overlooked, and I'm actually just going to see a gentleman on Monday who's an ex armed forces veteran. He was wounded in action in Iraq. And he's got a few issues which he needs to talk about. So that's something that's particularly close to my heart. I feel anybody like the gentleman concerned, who served their country and has been wounded in action, deserves all the support and all the help we can give him.
Totally, I couldn't agree more. Obviously my husband's an ex-RAF veteran as well, so I couldn't agree more. That's a really fantastic thing. In answer to your question, would I? Yes, absolutely. I would take on a department if I was offered one. I do feel that I'm going to put a strategy in place. I speak to Paul about it. I want to do 1 month surgeries in the constituency, so that we can obviously. That's just as a to give an update, but we need to absolutely do that. And I have an open door policy, so people mustn't wait till that every month to come to us. They must absolutely come to us and within that time and raise issues that they need help with. I did a poll at the poll on the election day, which basically was, so my leaflet dropped the night before, asked 10 questions. What was the most of concern to the people of the constituents? So I'm just wrapping up all that data now so that I can have a far more clearer focus on, obviously I have, going around door to door, but I want to have like a real clear focus, some stats on it to basically say, where are we with borders? How does the constituency feel? And I could probably tell you right now, it's about 80 to 90% want to keep the borders closed. And those are things that I really want to be able to focus on. I'm going to be reaching out to the constituents immediately to tell them what the stats were. This is what they're mostly interested in, and really sort of conveying a very much a working relationship with them. And I know that Paul, we've kind of, because of the way the election campaign has been, that we've all become very close in the sense that we want the best for our constituency. Working together is the most key focus for me, and making sure that we're not duplicating work, we're working together to make our jobs more efficient, and working to the best of our community.
It's an especially unusual election outside of general election time, because you're both brand new and because the constituency's had no representation for a little while now.
It's a little bit to our advantage in a way, because
is it? Do you think so?
Yeah, because we don't have any preconceived ideas, and we can have such an open mind. And I've thought about that prior to this, that it is better because no one's got their feet under the table. Both Paul and I haven't, and so we can actually go in and be very much more proactive.
I think it's key that you're seen to be an approachable person. I think that the people in the constituency need to know that. They obviously get to meet you when you're knocking on the doors, but of course you can't meet everyone when you're doing such things. So there's still a lot of people who neither of us will have met in the constituency, who will have given us their votes, and it'd be nice to get round to. I know I had a phone call from a gentleman who's invited me round to introduce himself to me later this week. He's a retired psychiatrist from the hospital, and unfortunately I missed him when I called. But he's very keen to meet up and discuss issues that he would like to raise in the area.